All right, everyone. Hey, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. Today, we're going to be looking at the Robot Spirits Nu Gundam. And here is the box that it came in. Pretty thin on this one, even though there are some cool accessories. Here's some of the artwork on the back. Pretty cool. You know what? And actually, stay tuned, because by the end, I will be comparing this to the Real Grade Nu Gundam, which is kind of a favorite among gunpla collectors. That Real Grade was very well made and put together, aside from the villainous factor of both of these, and that is the fin funnels. But yeah, we'll get into that a little later. But if you haven't already, subscribe. There's a giveaway going on, and I have a link to that video in the description. There's two things that I'll be giving away, so higher chances to win. Just, leave a comment in that video below. And also, I wanted to ask a comment to leave on this video. What are your thoughts on the Nu Gundam? Is it a favorite of yours? Do you think it's overrated? I actually think it is super awesome. Super awesome evolution from the RX-78 to the Mark II. Yeah, just totally awesome. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, so first of all, here is kind of a look of how I had it displayed. The more advanced beam saber look, where it has one blade here and one at the bottom of the hilt, which is a pretty cool look. It's got a shield. I really like the fact that when it comes to accessory storage, we have the bazooka, the beam rifle, and if you can see some blue tack on the back, that is sometimes necessary with action figures in general, especially the fin funnels here. But yeah, let's strip down the accessories and take a closer look. Okay, so here's Amuro's Nu Gundam here. Stripped down, just kind of bare bones, so we can kind of take a look at it. You know, I think it looks good. It looks a little simple, but I think that's accurate to the anime. When I say simple, you know, we have the real markings, the real grade look from the Real Grade Nu Gundam, where there's a little more detail in some of the areas, like, you know, I don't know, down here some of it looks a little flat, but that's just because it doesn't have, you know, the panel lining or those extra panel line marks, really. But it's got a lot to it. We can see where colors are being used in a good way. You know, some of it looks a little funky. I don't know if the paint apps were just not the best on this, or I did actually buy this used, so it could have been someone tried to touch it up, but I really want to say that's just how it was. A lot of the older Robot Spirits don't seem to be, they're still high quality, but not like newer ones. Here is the face. We can kind of see where the panel lining was done with the figure. Even if you look at the figure on the box, panel lining is done to the face. Even strong in a little areas where it wouldn't be, but maybe that is to make it more accurate to the anime, because again, it kind of has that flat look to it. Let's look at the articulation here. Yeah, lots of movement here to the head. Does it turn all the way around? It seems parts of it get stuck, but that's okay. It doesn't need to. Let's see. Can it look up? Good. That's all right. Down is well done. But up, it doesn't seem to be as much as you'd expect. Oh, that's not bad. I guess if we're looking at a flying pose, I guess that will get us to the torso, since I'm here. It does have a little bit of forward, and that's probably fine. The back, though, I think due to the backpack here, and not really, because there seems to be some separation between the backpack anyway, unless I really press down. I think it's just blocked down at the abdomen in the back here. I tried removing the backpack, and it doesn't seem like it comes off. Actually, now it just came off. Maybe I had loosened it up enough. So, that's funny. Let's see. No, that was the legs that were going back. But no, yeah, the back isn't really too far. Even the forward is just okay. And that's fine. I don't think it needs to be any more than that. And I guess, yeah, there's a nice sturdiness to the backpack when you have it clipped in, so I'm not really too worried about that. And actually, since I've had it, even with the fin funnels on the back, I've never had to worry about the backpack itself falling off. All right, so with the shoulders, it doesn't have too much, even though the arms extend, so that's good, but it doesn't go forward too much, goes back a little bit. The shoulder, or the shoulder armor itself Goes up as much as it needs to with the arms. Surprised that that's really to the extent of it. I mean, that's not... Again, it's not too bad. I don't want to complain too much. But there's just enough separation here where you can get that movement. Because, you know, with poses like this, you want to be able to have dual two-handed, sword holding, you know, beam saber holding. Depends what type of pose you want to get. I think when it comes to using the beam sabers is when you want that more dynamic look. Usually with projectile weaponry like guns, usually those are just kind of held in a kind of a standard fashion. Now we get down to the elbows, and okay, that's really good. Elbow crunch there. Yeah, it goes back quite a bit. Or goes forward. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Swivel like we'd expect, so that's good. And you know, we've got, let's see, there's a ball joint on the hand, and it almost looks like, but it doesn't move. It would look like this joint moves on. We see that on some of the Robot Spirits, but okay, it does move. It was just kind of, it was stuck. But yeah, there is movement there, and I'm now just getting it to do that. So that is good to know. So swivel, not all the way around, but I don't want to force it, but not that it needs it. So we've got the skirt armor. We've got the front here, kind of on their little connector ball joint, where, you know, usually we see that those pieces are removable easily, and that's okay. That helps with falls. Or if you're trying to get a good articulation and we don't want something to break, at least these pieces will come off. Yeah, I've got the side skirt pieces there. The back. All right, and with the legs, we do have some thigh swivel. And let's see. Oh, yeah, that came off trying to get it to go out all the way, but it seems, let's see. We can see the joint here, but it doesn't seem like, seems like because of the joint for the skirt, it stops it from being able to go up all the way. And it not that you need it, but that is still kind of limited. And so for the back, let's see, the knee bend, that's pretty good there. No complaints. Really cool that, you know, back here, there's this little section that moves up, and we have a thruster, and it doesn't move a whole lot, but it has a little bit of articulation, probably on a ball joint, which I'm sure, you know, they just, for engineering's sake, they had to have that piece attached, and making it a ball joint makes it easy and also allows some movement, even if it's limited. And so, yeah, looking at the foot, let's see here. Yeah, some of this, I can see there's some inconsistency in the movement. Some areas move easy, some don't. That could be just what has been used when posing and what has not loosened up. But we can see with the foot, how far back it goes, how far forward, and see if there's any other additional. Nope. Sometimes we'll see the toe has its own movement. And it looks like there is, within the forward and back, the foot itself has its own forward and back, and there's a side to side. There's some slight swivel, but looks like there's a ball joint down in there. So, you know, nothing too crazy, but good enough to where it doesn't seem limited, and it seems like a standard Robot Spirits figure that came from this time period. And actually, before I move on, let me look at when this was produced. 2012, so that is quite the dated figure, and I want to keep this in mind. Just like with the Sazabi, there's some complaints I have, but I gotta realize that this is nearing 10 years old, and it's definitely time for an upgrade. And also, let's look at the back. So, there's a little bit of articulation here on the backpack, and that's really for the fin funnels that we'll get to. And these thrusters, not much to it, but we can see some of the paint apps aren't the best. Again, yeah, I don't know if this has to do with it possibly being used, and I can't say for sure that it was used. I don't remember. Some of the older ones I have to get used because they're just not available new. All right, and that's about it with articulation. So I think we can start looking at accessories. All right, so first of all, here are the infamous fin funnels. As cool as they look, I don't know if there has been any version, gunpla or robot or action figure form that does the fin funnels well. Again, you see some blue tack here, which looks kind of messy, but it's very easy to clean up. I think this was just one that, depending how I had it set up, it would just come apart easily, so I had to use that to kind of keep it there. Luckily, from the use of blue tack I've used, even with other action figures, with gunpla, there hasn't been any damage that came from it. And it's very easy to reuse and to clean up. But yeah, there's a number of these. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just like with the High Nu Gundam review that I did, that has the effect part, and we'll look at that here in a second, and it kind of folds in. All right, here's that advanced beam saber. I should have looked up if there was a name for this, but I am probably thinking that there'll be a deep dive on this in an upcoming podcast. So we'll get some of the weaponry names down correctly. So that's cool. And yeah, it has a little bit of articulation here. This plugs into the backpack, just like with the new the gunpla, real grade. All right, here is the bazooka, and it has like the movable handle, which we're used to seeing. Has a connection point here for the back of the backpack. Even with the front and the back, there's not really a way to put an effect part on, but again, with some blue tack and the new effect parts that are available, that's a possibility. All right, here is the shield with the Anaheim Electronics logo on it. Here's where he shoots some missiles out. This actually comes off sometimes easy. And it just has some connector pieces here. I don't know what would be the reason of taking it off, unless you just wanted to make it look like shooting missiles, and especially playing Battle Operation 2, you kind of get used to the different weapons that's used, and you get a laser out of this, or some beam weaponry out of this, as well as shooting missiles, and so it's cool to see that represented here. Everything always seems to be consistent, which is good. And yeah, connector piece that goes on the Nu Gundam, and actually I can kind of show that, so it just kind of clips on, and it clips on easily, but it can fall apart easily. Like, it actually just came off easily just then. And what's really cool is, and because this is part of accessories, how we have the beam saber. All right, here's the beam rifle. Again, it has a connector point here. It's not one that's movable or anything, but it's even, not really sticking out like a sore thumb. So you can, easily use that to attach to the back. I kind of like the storage options for weaponry. But yeah, there is that. Yeah, nothing else about it. Kind of simple paint applications on this. All right, here are the hands. Not as many as we normally see with newer figures. We've got the trigger finger. We've got kind of the open splayed hands, either for dynamic posing or holding the rifle. We've got kind of the beam saber looking hand with a hole in it. And then we've got the fist. So kind of the typical normal ones. I do know that some of the newer Robot Spirits have a few different more options with the dynamic poses, and they have that, what I call the hand tree, where there's storage for the hands. I kind of like that option, but yeah, it's okay. And just like with the High Nu Gundam, we have the pieces for the fin funnels, and we'll look at that here in a second. And this hasn't been opened, so I'll do it here for the video, but we have the effect parts for the fin funnels. Now, it looks like it's just 3 that actually came with this. We can kind of see with this ad that came with it, where it does show having like a full, I guess, fin funnel attachment going on here. Probably comes with additional ones. I know it also has the other thing that we see in the anime, and that's in the Battle Operation 2, where, and other games, where Amuro can create that triangle with the fin funnels around him, that kind of pyramid of the beam effect. That's also like a separate thing to buy. Now, it's interesting because while it's usually not too expensive to buy, I think because of the package that it comes in, it kind of increases shipping costs. So then in the end, it comes out to be kind of expensive. Finally, for the typical beam saber that we saw on the arm there, here is a effect part. So always love effect parts. All right, let's look at the instruction manual here for a second, just to get an idea. Let me zoom out just a little bit. So yeah, showing the hands it comes with. It even has kind of an attachment guide for the fin funnels, and I've just kind of slapped them together how it seems to work, and it's kind of a fun therapeutic experience. Reminds me of the Real Grade. Yeah, showing some more options here of, how to use it. on the back here, showing the weapons to put in the arm, the shield. I guess there's different options on the shield itself, the connector piece for how you want to have it connected. Showing that kind of advanced beam saber there. And then we get into, how to put together the effect parts for the fin funnel and all that. I'll do that here in a second. One thing I wanted to try to do here, since I have the manual out, is let's see how we can easily get out that beam saber from the forearm. I love it when there's storage, but let's see if it's actually effective. All right, so here we go. It's really hard to just get it out like this. I was trying a second ago. Let's use the effect part to see if we can kind of pry it out without doing any damage. It didn't seem to work. Okay, here we go. This is just another example of an off-camera kind of manipulation that is required, but I very carefully use some nippers to kind of get that very thin end underneath here, just enough to prop it up. And then I used my finger for the rest because I didn't want to cause any damage. If we look at it, it doesn't look like I caused any damage, so that's good. Unless that little piece, but no, you can't see that. Doesn't seem so. But yeah, then you unplug it. We can kind of see that articulated area right there where, it plugs in here to go back down. Now let's see it used on here. It fits in just well. Okay, it goes in easily. And again, it's going to require some external tools and manipulation to really get that out easily, especially if you don't want to break it. All right, let's set up those fin funnels. Just real quick to show you, there's a little clear connector piece, and it just kind of plugs in there, and that seems to be sturdy. Hopefully the funnels aren't heavy enough and it drops. But it also comes with this extra piece. I believe it's for a stand, or it's an adapter piece that actually plugs into this. So I guess it could be allowing you to utilize that instead of the connector piece here, but maybe we'll find out here in a bit. All right, I'll be opening these up for the first time. Like I said, I wasn't sure if this was new or used when I bought it because part of it was still packaged, but it seemed to have an older look to it. I mean, that could just be the age of the figure and the box sitting around for that long, having a little damage on it. All right, and here's what I presume is how it should look when you're done with the effect part on it. There's a little bit of a gap there. But it seems to be in fine. So yeah, not too bad. And unlike the Nu Gundam, it doesn't seem to have the separation to it. It seems to just sit in fine, which is great. And it just could be each one's a little different, considering the age of the figures and the engineering. All right, here it is with the fin funnels in place. I can't say that was too difficult to do. It seems a little bit easier than the Nu Gundam, even though that wasn't too difficult. With some of it though, it reminds me of the Nu Gundam where some of the connection parts to the funnel itself wouldn't exactly stay in place. This one, I had to reverse it because the top part, when it was down below, the connector part's not as strong, and so it was just kind of drooping. So I had to turn it around, and I guess that helps it. So that's something to keep in mind. And also, there's some articulation, not only on the joints in the back that it plugs into the backpack, but also on the funnel itself. It also came with a fourth connector piece here. Not that you'd be able to use it, but maybe if you accidentally lost one. But then there's also that accessory pack you can buy that has all the extra ones. I'd love to do that. Yeah, let's get some poses going on with this. All right, and here we go with, we have the shield, we have the additional fin funnels on the back there, so we can see that it can all kind of go together. And I'm actually using the additional connector piece that goes on the back of the connector piece for the fin funnel effect. And it looks like that kind of gives you some more articulation, not only on the, let's see, the top piece. See, that is something that hasn't happened as much, but is very common with having this. But for the purpose of demonstration, I'll just leave it off. You can kind of get some additional articulation out of that, not only there, but also as it's there. Now, as I was removing the connector piece and getting it on the other way, as we can see down here, I did knock off this. You can see it's kind of drooping. Again, the connections are not the best. At least you can kind of stay in place once you get it there, but if you run it, anything related to fin funnels tend to just fall apart. Hey, and that's fine. These are very intricately engineered pieces here, whether it's the action figures or the gunpla. So you gotta give them credit where it's due. But yeah, here we can see where, so there's two different ways that you can utilize the stand function here. And something else that I think is absolutely fantastic about this is the fact that you can actually have the storage of the bazooka and the beam rifle while having the fin funnel effect connectors here. And so that way you can really have it on full display, have all the fin effect parts going on, have the storage going on. So, you know, that's also another additional layer of great engineering that they've achieved here. So with that out of the way, let's maybe adjust this just a bit, but here is the Robot Spirits alongside the Nu Gundam Gunpla. Generally, sometimes these Robot Spirits would be almost 1/44th scale, like high grade, you know, real grade. But we can see that this is just a bit bigger than that one, and maybe more than just a bit. So, you know, it's hard to really get the scaling down sometimes with these. We can kind of see the mechanism used back here for all the connector pieces. It's way more complicated than on the Robot Spirits. You can't even really perfectly fit the bazooka while having this connector piece here. And then, you know, the fin funnels, they just kind of move around. I'm really scared about that falling apart, but I just kind of, I tend to leave this guy just posed on my shelf anyway. All right, and for scale, here he is alongside the Saber. I mean, I do have him on a stand, so there's like, you know, a few centimeters difference. But let me know in the comments if you think this looks to scale. I think they're from the same line, same time period anyway, so they should be. But we can kind of see where the Sazabi's a little bigger, and I think that was kind of normal going forward. We get the Nightingale, that's also a lot larger. And so anyway, that's it for a review of the Robot Spirits Nu Gundam. It's a 2012 piece, but it comes with a lot of cool effects. I think for the price you can get it at right now, I don't know if they're ever new, but used. Either way, it seems to be pretty decent for what you're getting. There's still some good engineering here. It's kind of got that plain anime look, which I don't know if I'm really describing that right, or it's just being used to the real grade versions of these newer mobile suits. But with the accessories it comes with, and how you can really work all the accessories in together without there being much complications. And yes, the fin funnels do have a tendency to fall off the back, but it's nowhere near as bad as the real grade. Let me know what you think. I do think this is due for a upgrade since it's been about 10 years now. But does anyone else have this Robot Spirits Nu Gundam? And if you also have the real grade, what are your thoughts on them? Please let me know in the comments. I'm really curious what everyone thinks about this. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please like this video or subscribe if you haven't to be entered in the giveaway. And we'll talk later.